Out of all the elements that make up a conversion funnel, the tripwire is probably the least used and the least understood. So I think it's appropriate to kind of kick this module off just to answer the question, what is a tripwire? And to answer that, a tripwire is simply an irresistible, super low ticket offer that converts prospects into buyers. Okay, that's it. The goal of a tripwire is simply to convert a prospect into a buyer. It's not to get you rich, okay? It's not to make you a whole lot of money or anything like that. It's simply to change that relationship. So what do I mean? Well, if we were looking at it from traditional like human dating relationships and interactions, the tripwire would essentially be getting that first date. When somebody agrees to go out with you, when they say, yeah, you seem like a nice enough person, sure, we can meet somewhere, you can pick me up and we can go out to dinner or something like that. That relationship has fundamentally changed. You are now dating. Now, if you don't get a second date, obviously that relationship is over, but the chance that you're going to get a second date, assuming you don't royally screw up the first one, the chance that you're going to get a second date is extremely high if you get that first one, okay? That's what a tripwire does. A tripwire gets you that first date, because when a prospect has given you money, even if it's just $1, literally even if it's just 1 penny, the relationship has changed. They're no longer a prospect. They are now a buyer. They are now a customer, okay? And once somebody is a buyer, once somebody's a customer, the chance that they're going to buy again and again and again and actually become a fan, assuming they're treated well, right? Assuming you're giving value over and above what you're asking, the chance of them doing that is considerably higher. So that's the role of a tripwire. Now, why do we need tripwires? Why not just make somebody, your best offer, sell them your flagship product, your core offer? The reason is because people don't trust you. Okay, that's important that you understand. People don't trust you. Now, there was a time, right, when certainly back in the like 2006, 2007, when the stock market was flying high, before the recession, when credit was cheap, when people were going out there and just buying whatever the heck they wanted. They didn't worry about it because they had functionally unlimited credit card balances. And this wasn't just people, this was businesses also. So this impacted the B2B and the B2C space. Okay, after the recession, in a post-recessionary environment where number one, people are scared, and number two, credit is a lot tighter, people simply don't trust like they once did. So I firmly believe that today, right now, where we stand today in business, it is harder than it has ever been to get somebody to part with their money once. It is harder than it has been in recent history to get somebody to buy something from you the first time. But I will tell you this, if you treat them right, it's never been easier to get them to buy something from you the second time, especially if you have an effective conversion funnel in place. So what we want to do is we want to lower that barrier to entry of someone becoming your buyer, of someone becoming your customer. We want to lower it as low as we can possibly stand to get as many people who are calling themselves your customers, who are calling themselves your buyers as possible, because we know, especially if you have a well-crafted conversion funnel and if you treat them well, once they're a customer at the low end, the opportunity to rapidly ascend them is there. Okay, it's there. And that's what we're going to cover when we get into the core offer and profit maximizers and things like that. So that's the role of a tripwire. Okay, and that's why right now today, if you just have a product that's a $100 product or a $1,000 product or something like that, and it's not just an impulse buy, right? Somebody actually has to think about it. That's why this tripwire and the deployment of a tripwire in your business can become so powerful, all right? It actually is causational. If you put a slower ticket product earlier on in the funnel, it actually causes these people to buy more from you, right? It's just how it works. And the clearest example, and an example of a tripwire that probably just about everybody who goes through this training is going to be familiar with, is the old Columbia House Records offer. So if you're over the age of 25 or 30, you remember the Columbia House Records offer. It's not really around anymore. Obviously, iTunes and MP3s have kind of blown this business model up. But back in the day, this was everywhere. I don't know anybody who didn't at least try this once. And essentially the way that it worked is, for $1, you gave them $1, they gave you 13 records or tapes. Now, you were in their club and you had to agree to buy other albums at a higher price, but this particular tripwire offer was incredibly effective, okay? Even though you were just giving them $1. In fact, the earliest version of the Columbia House Records offer was just 1 penny. Literally, you had to just tape 1 penny to a reply envelope, drop it in the mail, and send it back to them, and they sent you 13 albums. Okay, 1 penny. But what happened is when you took that penny out of your pocket and you taped it to the reply envelope, you were now a customer. There was a monetary exchange that took place, and far greater than the value of that money itself was the value that was created in the relationship change, right? When the relationship shifted from you just becoming a prospect to you actually becoming a customer, you are far more likely to buy from them, not just as a result of the conversion funnel that they had in place in the back end, but also as a result of a positive transaction took place. Now you want to do it again and again and again. If you don't believe that the Columbia House Records offer was powerful, check this out. At one point in time, Columbia House was responsible for 15% of all music sales in North America. 15% of all music sales were sold by Columbia House Records. Now that is the power of a tripwire offer. All right, so I think the best way for you to kind of understand what all makes up a tripwire and all the things that go into it is to talk about the different elements that make up a winning tripwire and to show you some examples. So throughout the rest of this particular module, that's what we're going to be doing, talking about the different aspects of a winning tripwire and some examples that you can model in your own business. So with that, let's dive in and check those out.